What is up, YouTube? Carly Reese back with another spooky Monday video. Yes, and as you can see, I got me a green screen back here, a birthday present. Yes, the other day I turned 23. Let's clap it up. Yes. 23. Yes. But yeah, today we got another spooky Monday video about urban legends that turned out to be true. Yes, turned out to be true. So let's go ahead and get to it.
Means the world to me, and the fact that it's almost at like 700,000 views,
right?
I'm not sure what's at.
You're like just not thinking, and that person making hella noise, eating up your damn food and shit. You know what I mean?
All of a sudden, the peanut butter has a big hole in the center of it. You live
that's
alone,
wild.
and you're like, why would anyone do? I wouldn't do something like that. For decades, people who vacation in central Maine's North Pond area were puzzled by items that would go missing: batteries and food from the cabinets, flashlights from camping tents. This became a huge rumor and a massive talking point within vacationers in the North Pond area of Maine, striking fear in the ones who camp there or just vacation in general. Unfortunately, the rumors were true.
Oh no!
27 years, Christopher Knight lived alone in the woods within that area. He kept tabs on the hikers, canoeists, and...
Ah shit, my damn green screen. It's tilted. Oh man, it's tilted. We're gonna have to deal with this like this for the rest of the video. Oh, I gotta fix it. Yeah, I gotta fix it. It don't look good. Yeah.
other temporary residents of the grounds. When he was confronted by a game warden in 2013, Knight admitted that he was responsible for an average of around 40 robberies a year. So in 1986, at the age of 20, Knight actually left his home and drove to the North Pond area in central Maine. Without any plan or preparation, he decided to live in the forest. So Knight lived in a makeshift camp in the woods near North Pond, and his way of survival was stealing food, clothing, and other necessities from nearby cabins and campsites. He moved only at night, and he took only what he needed. Because he was so careful and planned out his robberies so perfectly, he wasn't caught for nearly 3 decades. In April of 2013, he was caught by law enforcement while stealing food from a summer camp for disabled people. Come on, Knight. Come on, bro. That's messed up. Thing is, though, when he was captured, there was a mix of emotions within the community. A lot of people felt for him that he was just trying to provide for himself while living in the middle of the woods. And to no one's surprise, a lot of people were very angry over his burglaries. Knight pleaded guilty to multiple counts of burglary and theft. He was sentenced to 7 months in jail and was required to pay restitution and attend counseling. There was also a book made after him called The Stranger in the Woods: The Extraordinary Story of the Last True Hermit by Michael Finkel. After he was released, Knight actually struggled with reintegrating into society after such a long period of isolation. He received support from his family and mental health professionals to help adjust to his new life. Now, there is some talk online whether this guy is actually a hermit or he's just a career burglar who hid in the woods. It seems to be that there's a disconnect.
I say he's probably a career burglar that hid in the woods. You know, it might be he like one of them. I don't think he's a hermit, whatever he is. I think he's just a dude just love to steal and just love to live in the woods and shit. You know, I think
really a hermit within the woods because he didn't build a farm. He didn't try to hunt for his own food. He would just go and steal other people's. So there was a story on Reddit from 3 years ago by Heart of Darkness. He said, one of my close friends had a summer cabin about 1,000 yards from this guy's camp. Growing up, she never wanted to be alone at the property because of how many times he'd broken into their cabin. The area is very remote. Think miles and miles of dirt roads through dense woods. And it's unsettling to think that someone was out there watching for decades. So a bunch of interviews that were actually done on this guy basically sums up that he terrorized people with his constant burglaries, and he just did not care. He only cared about what he needed. He didn't care about how he made people feel, breaking into their cabin, stealing their stuff. He did not care. And yeah, let's move on to the next urban legend in this video.
Shame.
The next urban legend in this video is the body under the bed. Vacationing couples, newlyweds, Disneyland guests.
Someone in your bed while you're trying to sleep or do whatever, that is fucking crazy. Like, you're just trying to relax and the dude just under, or a woman is under there. You're like, just don't even know about it. Man, that's called a boogeyman.
all have been the subject of an urban legend involving hotel occupants who fall asleep only to wake up to an awful stench coming from either under the bed or inside.
Oh, it's a dead body?
Closer inspection reveals that a dead body has been
Oh, it's a dead body.
Not anyone natural causes. Now, unfortunately, this has been confirmed multiple times over that this has actually occurred. At least a dozen newspaper stories have detailed hotel rooms that have doubled as...
I see a foot right there. That's a dog or a skinwalker. Maybe possibly a skinwalker right there. That could be a skinwalker right there. Yeah, that could be. That could be.
The body disposal site. While the smell is usually apparent right away, at least one couple slept on a mattress containing a body in Atlantic City in 1999. Cases in Colorado, Florida, and Virginia have also been reported. To go into a specific case, in 2010, guests at the Budget Lodge in Memphis were horrified to discover they had been sleeping over the body of Sonny Millbrook, who at the time was a missing person. Fabric softener had been stuffed in the ceiling tiles to try and mask the smell. At least 3 other occupants had actually rented the room out since Millbrook's disappearance. Yup, that means 4 people in total slept with her body dead under the mattress, which
they didn't even know about it.
So at the end of this story, a court eventually convicted Millbrook's boyfriend, Lakeith Moody, of the crime. So if you're ever on a cruise, staying in a hotel, or going to Disneyland, it doesn't hurt to, I don't know, check under the mattress. So this next urban legend is very interesting. So I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Candyman is a horror film based on the short story by Clive Barker. This movie, to me, is honestly a masterpiece. Not only is it a great horror movie, it's just an amazing film in general. The cinematography is beautiful, the storytelling is superb, and Tony Todd absolutely killed it as Candyman in this film. So if you have not seen it, definitely go check it out. So essentially, the urban legend that goes along with this film is that if you look in a mirror and you repeat the name Candyman several times, he will pop out. So in the film, when this urban legend is taking place and it is being repeated into the mirror several times, Candyman usually pops out of the medicine cabinet. In 1987, the Chicago Reaper published a story about Ruth McCoy, a woman living in a Chicago housing project.
I think I've heard about this story before.
She made a frantic and terrified call to 911 insisting she was being attacked in her apartment. Responders eventually found her dead of gunshot wounds. Investigators actually determined that her murderers gained access to her unit by breaking through the connecting wall in the adjoining apartment. And as you can guess, they climbed through her medicine cabinet. The whole entire complex was built like that intentionally, so if there was ever a leak in a pipe or a pipe bursted, the plumbers could go and check it out with ease. And it wasn't the only case in this building. Once this was figured out, it was used as a frequent mode of burglars breaking into people's houses. This one is absolutely heartbreaking, and if I do recall from my research, people actually thought of this woman as kind of crazy, and she would say crazy things and no one took her seriously. And when she called the police, they just did not take her serious at all. They were in no hurry, they were in no rush, and due to that, she was murdered for it. So yeah, this is definitely a downer to read, and it was very upsetting to research this story.
That is real crazy.
Now this next one is one that I think about a lot. It is called the fake cop trick. Especially on TikTok recently, I feel like there's been a lot more evidence of this, and just on the internet in general. I don't know if you guys have ever heard it, but maybe your parents have warned you, maybe a fellow peer. But there are talks of people who are faking being police officers to pull people over and either kidnap them or do God knows what. Essentially, it's someone who just throws flashing lights on top of their car that you could just buy off of the internet. And because it's so dark out, you can't really tell if it's a police vehicle or not. You can just see the flashing lights behind you. Well, in Bloomington, Illinois, a man used flashing lights to get a vehicle to pull over. After walking up to the vehicle, the man tried unsuccessfully to overpower the driver before they managed to get away. In Fayetteville, Georgia, a man donned a uniform and pulled over a teenage boy on a bike, forcing him to empty his pockets. Talking to the real police later, the boy told them that a second car had pulled up with a man matching the description of someone who had been caught impersonating an officer 2 weeks prior. I remember...
Ew, that's... A lot of these urban legends is like too damn scary, and it's true, but it is just reality. It's scary as shit, you know? It's too fucking true. It's scary as hell.
Years ago, I saw a story about this, and I'm sorry if I get these details wrong, but I couldn't find it. There was a man and a woman who were traveling in a car, and behind them they saw the flashing lights pull them over. So obviously you're going to pull over, you think it's a police officer, and you're obviously not going to run. The guy walks up to the window and flashes the lights inside of the car. And as the lights shine in through the window, it aims at the woman first. He then moves the flashlight over and then sees that the driver is a male. The driver of the car notices that this guy isn't really wearing a professional uniform. He said it actually looks kind of cheap, or just not a uniform at all. It was kind of dark, he couldn't exactly tell. But he could tell that there was something up with this guy and his attire was not correct. He then looked in his rearview mirror and he saw that the car also had no things on it that would signify that it was a police officer. After the quote-unquote police officer noticed that the driver was a male and there weren't two females in the car, he immediately acted very strange. He became flustered, he couldn't speak correctly, and eventually just walked back to his car.
He would try to do something very crazy as hell and try to do something wild, but luckily nothing happened. Fortunately nothing happened. Yeah. Nothing happened to the people that was in the car. Yeah, that's the best way to say.
Without explaining anything, and then drove off. The person telling the story said that he thought that maybe the cop thought there were two females in the car when he pulled them over. It's absolutely terrifying to think about what could have happened if there were two females in the car, and what he was trying to do. But yeah, let's move on to the next urban legend. So we're going to move on to something a little bit more lighthearted because I need it and I feel like you need it as well. So this isn't a single urban legend, but you've probably heard at least one tale about alligators lurking in city sewers. And some of these legends claim that there were alligators living in the sewers of New York City, of all places. Well, this is far from fiction. There have been several real accounts of fully grown gators living in sewers, especially in the southern United States. In states like Florida, I mean, who would have guessed? Where alligators live in the wild and they're basically everywhere you look in Florida, storms and flooding can wash full-size gators into the sewer system. And what's crazier is that police officers actually did pull a 2-foot-long baby gator from a New York City sewer in 2010. Unfortunately, gator colonies are a myth when it comes to New York City. There were some talks that there were full-blown colonies of gators living in the sewers of New York City. According to science, a full-grown gator could not survive a New York City winter, so there's no colonies of alligators living in the sewers of New York City. As cool as that kind of sounds and terrifying as well, overall, it's just a goofy little one, and who knows, maybe when you're roaming around in the sewers like the kids from It, you could run across an alligator and befriend it. Don't try to do that.
You could.
This next urban legend is called Le Loyen. So this one's really cool because we get a timeline of it and we can
Oh, there's a timeline? Okay. What's this timeline?
Please see when this urban legend became reality when someone took a picture of this. So the people of Switzerland began telling stories about a mysterious figure who walked through the, please correct me if I say this wrong, Malise Forest, wearing camouflage and a gas mask. Now for 10 years, there was no evidence that this figure actually existed. There were just a few eyewitness accounts in the newspapers. He was almost like a Bigfoot-esque cryptid. There was no evidence of it, but everyone says they see him walking around in the woods. According to those accounts, he didn't show any signs of being dangerous or malicious, but he was definitely creepy to look at. I mean, you're in the woods, you see a guy walking around with a gas mask. Yeah, that would probably freak you out. But in 2013, a pedestrian actually snapped a photo of him, which I'm showing you now, and just completely destroyed this folklore, this story, and just proved that he was a real person. A few months later, his gas mask and a camouflage coat appeared in the woods that he used to walk in. There was also a mysterious note hinting that he was harmless and could no longer stand being viewed as some kind of monster. There were rumors that this was actually his suicide note, that he took his own life. Whether he actually committed suicide or he simply abandoned his persona, his wandering habits are unknown now. No one has seen him. I'm not sure why he was doing this, if he wanted to stir up the pot a little bit, or maybe he was just a dude who liked to wear a gas mask. I have no idea. It is crazy that he was walking around for all these years, and the moment a picture came out, no one has seen him since. He was either really committed to this bit or something unfortunate happened to him. But I guess we'll never know.
Probably it's just someone now
this one is pretty short, but it is
messing with him. Cool. That's what I think.
So residents of Puebla City, located in southeast of Mexico, told folk tales about a mysterious network of tunnels hidden beneath the city. For hundreds of years, there were no such tunnels that were ever found, so people assumed that there were nothing more than stuff of legends. But then in 2015, a construction crew actually discovered a very real tunnel beneath the city. Crews began excavating the site and eventually discovered around 6 miles of tunnels snaking
tunnel man or something,
streets.
Something crazy like
The
that.
tunnels were actually believed to have been constructed from the 16th century all the way through the 19th century. And they have now been open as a tourist attraction today. Could you imagine this whole entire time you're talking about these tunnels underneath the city, nobody believes you, it's just this crazy tale. And now it has turned into a tourist attraction. This one is absolutely mind-blowing, and the fact that it took all these years to discover that there were these hidden tunnels underneath the city, imagine all the other mysteries out there in the world. Just wrap your head around how many things on this planet we haven't discovered yet. There's so many hidden nooks and crannies.
I believe there's
that was
a
just
lot.
A little short one.
I believe there's a lot of stuff that we probably haven't explored yet, especially in the oceans and shit. I know there's a lot of that stuff in there, you know.
And let's move on to the final urban legend in this video. So the final urban legend that turned out to be true is Bigfoot. I'm just joking, everyone relax. I just want to add, guys, it's currently 10:35 when I'm recording this, and it is pitch black in my room, and I am so scared looking through these urban legends. The only thing keeping me comfortable right now is talking to you guys. It feels like my friends just here in this room shielding me. So I said I'm gonna move on to my final one, but here's the thing. I have basically read to you every urban legend that turned out to be true that I could find on the internet. The only one that's left is the Alice killings. And I wouldn't even really say that this is an urban legend come true because there are just a little bit too much of a difference between the two stories. So the story of the Alice killings is one of Japan's most famous urban legends.
This is in Japan.
The legend revolves around a series of killings that supposedly occurred between 1999 and 2005. The victims had no relationship to one another, and the killings seem unrelated in every way, but they shared a haunting similarity. A single playing card was found by each body with the word Alice written in the victim's blood. But there is no evidence, however, that these killings ever took place at all. And the only truth that's connecting these is that there was a serial killer who identified his murders with playing cards, but he also operated in Spain and not in Japan. His name was Alfredo Galán. He was 26, which is, wow, that is so young to be doing things like this and throwing your life away. He was convicted of 6 murders and 3 attempted murders in shooting attacks around Madrid in 2003. His killing spree lasted from January until March before he turned himself into the police in July that year. He was given the name Playing Card Killer by the Spanish press. Basically, his reasoning for killing all these people was to know what it felt like to kill. And he was sentenced to 142 years in prison.
That's
so
wild.
Safe to say he's not getting out.
That's wild. He ain't getting out no time soon. That's effing wild right there.
Anytime soon.
Shit.
Yeah, that brings us to the ending of this video and the ending of this series. Maybe it's very unlikely that some urban legends will come out over the course of a couple.
Can't even do shit. That's crazy, man. But anyway, chat. If you like that the tale of urban legends, leave a like and subscribe. Turn your notification bell on, and shout out to some people that told me to recommend this video and shit. I can't think of the name right now, but other than that, peace out.